I make $350 an hour as a freelance copywriter, and this was true even before I started hiring a team for my studio. How though? Well, that's what I'm gonna break down for you in this video, because I definitely didn't start here and it took me so long to figure out how to scale up in this way in the beginning. When I first started freelancing, my very first gigs paid about $25 to write 500 words, and that sometimes included getting interviews and quotes and photos and doing all the research and planning and all of that too. So it worked out at the end of the day to be way less than minimum wage. Obviously, that's not the case anymore, and since figuring out how to make this business actually work for me, I've made it my mission to help other new freelancers learn how to do it too. Hey, I'm Jill Wise, a conversion copywriter, brand and marketing strategist, and business coach, and through both my Done For You studio and education platform, I've worked with, coached, and taught literally hundreds of entrepreneurs just like you how to make good money online. I literally teach a lot of this stuff inside my mastermind, which is full of freelancers, copywriters, and marketers. And well, the ones that are coming into the group are definitely not in the very newbie beginning stage of making $25 per gig. They are still looking to scale up. So these are the kind of things that we talk about. But if you're watching this, I would love to know where in the world you are located, because I know things are different in different parts of the world, and I just want to know where everybody is. So if you leave your location in the comments below, that would be super cool. Okay, so if you are a new freelancer or copywriter, then I know that it's probably not reasonable to expect to jump from the beginner rates up to $350 an hour or more right away. But there are steps that you can take right now to start increasing that hourly to be a fair, livable, thriving wage. And this video is going to talk about 6 steps that you can take immediately to start increasing your hourly rate. The format of this video is going to be that I'm going to walk you through the 6 steps that you can take immediately, but each one is actually going to have like an action point too. So make sure you watch all the way through so that you can get the category of the step and what your specific action is. For the first step that you can take right now to start increasing that hourly rate, I need to clarify something. I actually make at least $350 an hour as a freelance copywriter, and I say at least because I don't actually charge any hourly rates or packages like that anymore. Everything within my business is a flat rate. And since making the switch to a flat rate structure, I've been able to increase what I make per hour without having to actually talk to clients about that. Because overall, the average of what I spend on a project and how much I'm making from a project at least is that $350, and sometimes it can be a little bit more if the project is more efficient or if I don't need to bring on a ton of help in terms of the team and just like other things that are involved in the scope of work. For example, how much I'm personally making within the business is going to vary depending on if it is a full service project that has multiple writers and an editor and all of that on board for the project versus if I'm selling one of my day reservations at a premium. That's going to have a higher profit margin because it's usually just me and maybe my assistant helping me. Overall, though, this is a really simple switch that you can make in your business right away to increase your hourly. So instead of quoting clients per hour or saying, I think it'll take me about X time and it's going to cost you this much per hour, just come up with a general flat rate or a package rate that is more value-based and results-based, and that will just help immediately. Kind of along the same lines, I avoid any like per word pricing. While yes, my projects will include like a scope of like maximum word counts, if you are trying to charge per word, people can kind of like nickel and dime you, and you just don't really want that set up. It was something that was adopted from like journalism, I think. Copywriters kind of brought it over, and it just doesn't make any sense because it can actually be harder to write something that's shorter as a copywriter. So I would avoid that too. The second thing that you can do immediately to start increasing your hourly rate is to do good work and get better results for your clients. This comes second because integrity is absolutely everything, and you can't just start charging higher rates if you don't actually have the results to back it up. Kind of along the same lines, you can't charge premium rates if you don't have a premium service. So the action you can take right now is to study and practice and get really good at what you do, and then go collect really good feedback from the clients that you do have or have worked with in the past about the results that you provide. The more social proof that you have to back up the rates that you want to be charging, the easier it will be to sell them. The third thing that you can do to increase your hourly rate in your freelance copywriting business is to hire help for the non-billable tasks. I didn't hire a VA until my business was already bringing in 6 figures while working 4-day work weeks. So I was already charging that premium rate. But when I did do that and was ready to do that, this helped me eliminate any non-billable tasks or any tasks that were at like a typically lower hourly rate from my plate, so I could focus on the bigger ones, the more revenue generating ones. It's okay though if you aren't ready to hire someone yet, because what I did was actually look at the tasks that I was doing and I automated as much as I could or systemized it prior to hiring someone. And that's why I was able to scale up the business as far as I did without having that extra help. So your action today could either be to look at what you're doing and see what you can automate and systemize first so that you can get ready to hire someone later. Or if you've already done a lot of that work, then start the process to bring on help with all of those non-billable tasks so you can focus on the bigger stuff instead. The fourth thing that you can do today to increase your hourly rate in your freelance business is to cut what is not profitable or not enjoyable. Almost every business, from my experience, is going to have those services or packages or offers that are just kind of dragging the business down. Either you hate doing them, so you drag your feet on doing them, or they're just not profitable, so they really bring down how much you can make overall. Commonly, these are the one-off, smaller projects, and they're super distracting from you working towards the bigger things that you want from your business. So the action you can take here is super simple, even though I know that it might feel kind of hard, but you have to cut those out immediately. Like if someone comes and asks you for this tomorrow, say no. You do not have to do everything. You don't have to be everything to everyone. And by focusing on the stuff that is going to be profitable and enjoyable, then it's going to be so much easier to increase your hourly rate and scale up your business. And this leads to the next point, which is that you need to streamline your offers to focus on the profitable ones and getting consistent clients into those offers. If you're doing too many things, then your attention will be lacking because you'll just be pulled in all different directions and it'll be really hard to scale up, especially if you're a one-person team right now. The less efficient you are, then the less your hourly rate is going to be as you move into charging for the flat rate structures instead. To give you an example, when I was really focused on the growth of my business, I brought all of the offers back down to just lean into brand messaging guides and website copy. I removed blogging, retainers, everything that didn't fit into those two. I did not do it for a period of time. Once everything was running really smoothly and efficiently and I had systems in place, then I started adding in these other things. And it made it a lot easier at that point, especially as I started to hire other help to create all of these other deliverables. But when you're just a solopreneur, it's so much easier to scale up if you are focused on a specific services suite that makes sense. So your action here is to look at what offers are the most profitable and the most enjoyable for you and come up with a plan to sell more of those only. And finally, the sixth thing that you can do to increase your hourly rate as a freelance copywriter is to deliver a premium experience. So if you're going to start charging premium rates as a copywriter, you need to also pay attention to the experience for your clients that are working with you. What is it like to work with you? How do they feel? Do you make it really easy for them? Falling within this category, you want to consider things like the buying journey, what the customer service is like when they work with you. Are you guiding them through from start to finish? Do they feel really supported? Beyond just the results that you provide or the copy that you give them at the end of the day, these are the kind of things that they're going to be telling their friends about or that they're going to mention in their reviews about you. And this is the kind of stuff that sets apart copywriters who might be like equally talented, but one has a great customer experience and the other one, not so much. Your action with this one is to look at your current process or your workflow for a typical project and pick one spot that you can refine right now. Like what's one place that you can make it a lot easier for your clients or just feel better for them? That could be looking at your onboarding or the questionnaires that you give them, or maybe coming up with something to explain the process partway through. Like when you are delivering a copy draft, do you give them instructions with it? Do you make it really clear what the next steps are? There are so many things that you can do in this area, but just pick one to start. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap up these steps with a lesson that you can take away from this as well, because something that I hear often in freelancer communities is that like clients just don't have the budget for this type of work, or they just can't increase their rates because their current clients wouldn't be able to afford it. Something like that. And while yes, that might be true that who you're currently working with can't afford to pay you higher rates, my lesson or question for you is, who do you really want to work with? Because maybe what you need to do is look at who you're working with, and instead of going for that audience because they're comfortable or you've been working with them for a while, start to think about who you can work with instead that's going to value what you do. There are clients out there who understand why good copywriters cost more, and often your rates aren't actually the problem. The problem is the budget that these people have. So then your task should be to find people who have the budget for the level and quality of work that you provide. And at the end of the day, doing all of these things is how I was able to grow my business to this point and beyond like the 6 figures in 4-day work weeks actually. So now I'm really only working about 15 hours per week and still running my business. Doing all of these things is how I was able to scale up my business and start working less while still making more. Currently, I'm working about 15 hours per week while still running my thriving six-figure business. And I break down all of the how and when I'm working in the six-figure schedule. This is a free download, and consider it like calendar inspiration so you can see what's actually possible for you. Because I know that if you're in the beginning stages or the messy middle and you're just overworked and underpaid, you can't really see what's possible. I know that I used to think all of the time, yeah, that sounds cool for other people, but it definitely won't work for me. Until it did work for me. So I encourage you to grab that download if you want an idea of how that could look for you too, and I will leave it linked below. If you have any questions about anything that I talked about, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and as always, thank you so much for watching.